Hey guys, it's Wayne. Welcome to my journal. I just spent like 20 minutes playing with the camera settings and learning how to use custom modes. So now, at least, whenever I want to vlog, I can just like flip it to a particular mode. It is like 11 PM right now. I'm at an Airbnb cabin in Warrnambool, and it's the nicest Airbnb I've ever stayed in. It's like a couple who run it. They were so nice. They introduced me to their dog. And then, I came into the room and there's just so many nice little touches and everything. Like, for example, once this is done, I have 2 Tim Tams and freshly whipped cream waiting for me, which is freaking awesome. I'm feeling very luxuried out right now and don't know how I'm going to be able to adjust myself to hostel life and stuff. That's really annoying. I also spent like 10 minutes like drying my hair and dealing with that. I also don't know how I'm going to deal with that in the hostels. Might lead me to cutting it off. Who knows? We'll see. I got here in like the afternoon today. So left Sydney yesterday morning. Did 9 hours to Bendigo, longest ever drive I've done in one day. Even longer than Broken Hill to Adelaide, which I did a couple years ago. So that was fun. I arrived very late to a place where I thought I'd have a private bathroom, but it was actually shared. It was actually really nice though, I can't complain. And then, cooked breakfast this morning, made my way out, had a quick look around Bendigo, got myself a really nice blazer for like $20 from an op shop. It fits a little bit too tight, but it was $20 and it's like this really nice red, so I couldn't say no to that, right? Last time I was in Bendigo, it was nighttime, so and it was just like a quick stopover, so didn't get to check it out much. Today I got to check it out just a little bit more and soak in the vibes just a little. There's this Cantonese barbecue type place thing that I grabbed lunch from, which was pretty good. And then made my way on the drive down to Warrnambool today. So Warrnambool's like 4 or 5 hours west of Melbourne, on the coast. Basically the first big-ish city after you're done with the Great Ocean Road out of Melbourne. Long drive, lots of music, a really good podcast from ABC Minefield with Waleed Ali and some other guy, and then another professor guy that they brought on. It's very interesting. They were talking about like the role of the state in our lives, and it was very interesting to have it pointed out how intersectional social, economic and political things are in the world, and then also how much the world has changed. I feel like sometimes I take that stuff for granted and I don't think about it much. I honestly just haven't thought about the art side as much since graduating high school, and my focus has been science and engineering. I don't know, I think that kind of reinvigorated a bit of that in me, which was fun. Drove down to Warrnambool, got here, checked in, decided that the first thing I'd do to check out the town was to go on a run. And so I ran along the foreshore, around the lake, and then up to a point called Thunder Point. And I was going to try keep it a chill run the entire time, which I managed to do for the first 2/3. And then near Thunder Point, there was like this huge flock of pigeons, and they were flying really close, and they were sort of flying back and forth in front of me, and I was like, I have to chase them, right? So I chased them, and that was fun. And then I got distracted by the rocks, which were some lovely limestones. And apparently they erode at the rate of like 4 centimeters a year, according to one of the signs I read, which is like so fast. Which also reminds me that I need to do my homework tonight, which is check out the geological map for the road that I'm covering tomorrow on my way to Apollo Bay along Great Ocean Road, so I actually know what I'm looking at. As a geology student, that's the sort of stuff that excites me. Distracted by limestones, and then it started bucketing down, and because it was my first run in like 3 weeks, I wasn't really thinking about it, so I wore like a cotton t-shirt which got completely drenched and it felt like significantly heavy. yeah, ran back completely soaked. But it was good. And then after that run, I went and got fish and chips from a local fish and chip shop run by some Chinese immigrants. And this was interesting. So earlier today, I stopped by a small town called Beaufort. I think that's how you pronounce it. And yeah, got like a milkshake from like a local shop run by another Asian immigrant who recently took it over only a couple months ago. And I kind of regretted not asking him a bit more about his life story and sort of where he was at. So I made sure that in this fish and chip shop, I actually talked to these folks a little. I was a bit nervous, like I spoke to them in English to start, then I heard them talking Mandarin and I was like, oh, you guys speak Mandarin? And then we conversed in Mandarin for a bit and that was fun. Turns out they've been here for like over a decade, running a shop which has awesome Google reviews. And it was nice. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's something to be said about connecting to people with a similar identity. And I don't know, whenever I'm traveling around Australia, I've always sort of got to amp up the Aussie side of me, like the g'day, how you going, mate? That sort of stuff. So it was just nice to sort of talk to them a little bit. I'm sure they don't get as much Chinese interaction as I might do back in Sydney as well. So I checked the census. I think Warrnambool's got like 30,000 people and then 300 are like speak Mandarin at home. So it's like 1%. And I think they knew that number as well. They quoted that number back at me, which was funny to know, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. It was nice to just do that. It reminded me a bit about the thoughts that I've been having about identity in the last few years, which is that I'm very much like, I'm not Chinese, I'm not Australian, I'm Chinese Australian, which is sort of its own thing and it comes with its own customs and you sort of have your own little in-group. And honestly, even within that group of sort of Asian Australians, there's like little, you've got like your Westies in Sydney, you've got a few in like the country towns, and then you got the more like suburbanites, like myself. So even then, it's like slightly different experiences. But yeah, I don't know, it's different. And when I realized that was a thing and that could be its own thing, it helped me understand myself a lot better, I think. Yeah, which also reminds me of a chat that I had recently with when I was reconnecting with one of my old friends, and she was telling me about how she realized that, I felt like she had been working at a startup for a few years and she felt like she was getting her sense of belonging from her work, but then she wasn't finding out who she really was herself. And I know that rang true to me a lot as well, and I feel like it goes along the same vein, which is sort of just the cliche discovering yourself crap. But it's so true, and like when you're in your early 20s, I think it's an important part of life that we got to work our way through. Oh yeah, one more point to add about that I wrote down and forgot to mention is that one thing both me and that old friend realized is that you can't get your sense of belonging from a single place in your life, right? It can't just be work. And for myself, it was also, in the last few years, it's been like a long-term relationship that I was in, where I sort of got a lot of my identity out from that. Like, it can't just be that. You've got to be your own person first. Editing Wayne here. It turns out, I don't know if you can see that. So this, right? Now, I don't know if it's just me, but that looks like whipped cream. Anyway, it's not. It's butter. Yikes. The Tim Tams look good though. I think what I was trying to get at with that whole point on identity is that, like, for me, once I realized that this is who I am, it allowed me to appreciate so much more sort of my own customs, my life experiences, and yeah, I guess what I've been through so far and what my life is going to look like in the future, rather than sort of focusing on, how I'm different to others that I see around me. The other thing is it's about having belonging within your little group. Like, I think Subtle Asian Traits has done so much for Asian Australians, Americans and Canadians alike. And we've all sort of realized that despite growing up in different countries, like, we probably share more in common with our experiences. The most common one being sort of how we deal with our parents, which is always funny. Like, we probably share more in common than maybe we do with some of our like local neighbours and stuff. Anyway, travel update. So tomorrow I'm heading over to Apollo Bay, which is a couple hours drive only, which means I'll have plenty of time to stop and see the sights and the rocks. not gonna lie, I have no idea how people do this traveling sort of stuff. Like, do they just plan everything in advance, like what they're gonna do every single day, all of the sites they're gonna see, like fully in advance? Because like, I don't do that, and I don't really want to do that either, but then like I'm worried that you have to plan some things in advance, like accommodation and travel and stuff, so that you're not sort of left stranded, especially during like peak travel season, which it will be when I'm in Europe. But then like, I also want to like be able to be flexible, and then there's also like so much to learn. Like I want to go to these places and like not be like actually know what I'm looking at and like manage to get something out of it, rather than just, oh, I'm here and just saying I'm here and taking a simple photo or something. Like I don't want that, right? So like going through Bendigo, knowing that that's like a huge Chinese immigrant population from the gold rush era, like that's super helpful. Honestly, I don't know enough about Warrnambool. Why am I in Warrnambool? Like, far out. All I know is that there's limestone cliffs. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't know. How do people do this? If anyone has advice, please tell me. I'm thinking about the plan when I'm in Europe is to do the mainland for around 6 weeks and then do 2 weeks in Iceland. I'm really keen on Iceland, mainly for the geology, but also as like my big nature experiencing part. And I'm currently considering between whether I get a camper van or I just rent a car and then stay in different places. Yeah, I don't know, I'm gonna work that out. Lots to work out. I feel like I get to every spot and then like there's plenty of homework to do. But then I also kind of like it like this, where it's, you know, it's really busy and it's really packed. So I don't know. I'm having fun. It's been a good 2 days. Looking forward to another awesome week, and then seeing the F1 really soon. That's all. Thanks for watching. Bye. One take.